Dr. Elara Miles paced the chilly, subterranean chamber where the relic had been unearthed. Ice crystals hung in the air, refracting the light from portable lamps set up around the dig site. Her breath clouded in the frigid air as she approached the artifact, a pulsating sphere encased in a metallic shell, ancient scripts winding around its circumference. "Are you seeing this, Dr. Miles?" her assistant, Tomas, asked, his voice echoing slightly in the vast cavern. "The energy readings are unlike anything we've documented before." Elara nodded, her eyes locked on the softly glowing artifact. "It's not just the readings," she murmured. "Do you feel that? It's like it's almost humming, resonating on a frequency that feels almost alive." Tomas adjusted the sensors, his brow furrowed. "It's responding to our presence, isn't it? Every time we move closer, the energy spikes. This isn't just a relic, Tomas. It's a technology far beyond our current understanding. And it's reacting to human biosignatures." Elara couldn't hide her excitement, but a shadow of concern darkened her expression. "We need to be extremely careful with who we share this information with." As they worked, a message pinged on Elara's tablet, an encrypted communique from the United Earth government. Her heart sank as she read the demands from the Galactic Council. They wanted immediate surrender of the relic, citing universal safety protocols. She knew what that meant. The Council feared what they couldn't control. 2 days later, Elara stood before the Galactic Council at their massive hub station orbiting a neutral star. The chamber was a vast dome, lined with representatives from across the galaxy, their myriad forms a blur of colors and shapes. At the center of the dome, the Council elders sat, their expressions unreadable. "Dr. Miles," the lead elder, a Grathorian named Vorel, began, his voice amplified to fill the chamber. "You stand before this council accused of withholding technology that could pose a significant threat to the peace and stability of the galaxy. What say you?" Elara took a deep breath, her gaze sweeping over the assembly. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," she started, her voice steady despite the pounding of her heart. "The artifact found on Earth, dubbed the Aegis by our team, is indeed powerful. But it is not a weapon. It is a tool, one that can bring about a new era of understanding and cooperation among all our peoples." Murmurs filled the chamber, a mix of skepticism and curiosity. A reptilian delegate from Silax hissed, "And why should we trust Earth, a junior member of this council, with such a tool?" "Because," Elara countered, "humanity is new to this council, yes. We bring a perspective untainted by the old conflicts that have long divided this assembly. We propose a demonstration of the Aegis capabilities, under the supervision of this council, to show its potential for harmony, not destruction." Vorel leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. "And if this council decides the risk is too great? Then, with all due respect, we will discuss that when the time comes," Elara replied, her confidence unyielding. "But do not judge this based on fear of the unknown. Fear stunts growth, breeds conflict. I urge you, let us show you what the Aegis is capable of." After a long, tense pause, Vorel nodded. "This council will convene tomorrow. You will have your chance to demonstrate the artifact's purpose. Until then, Dr. Miles, the Aegis will remain under council guard." Elara nodded, a mix of relief and anxiety settling in her chest. As she exited the chamber, her communicator buzzed, "Tomas, always timely. Everything set for tomorrow?" His voice crackled through. "As ready as we'll ever be," she replied. "It's not just about showing them what the Aegis does, it's about proving what humanity stands for." Back on Earth, the news of the upcoming demonstration had leaked, sparking debates across every media platform. Humanity's role in the galaxy was no longer a mere footnote in interstellar diplomacy. They were now at the crux of a potential galactic shift. Elara watched the reports with a growing sense of responsibility. "The world's watching, Dr. Miles," her colleague, Dr. Liu, said as they reviewed the final details of the demonstration. "Not just our world, but all worlds." Elara smiled wryly. "Then let's not disappoint them." The next day, in the council chamber, Elara and her team set up the Aegis in the center of the room. The artifact, now more active than ever, seemed almost eager to reveal its secrets. As the council members filed in, their expressions ranged from wary to outright hostile. Elara stood, her device ready to activate the Aegis. "Members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice echoing. "Today you will witness firsthand the power of what we've uncovered. This is not a weapon of war but a beacon of peace. Observe." With a nod from Voral, she activated the device. A soft light emanated from the Aegis, filling the chamber with a gentle, pulsing glow. Gradually, the delegates began to relax, their earlier tension easing as the Aegis energy washed over them, enhancing their empathy, deepening their understanding of each other's fears, hopes, and dreams. Whispers of astonishment circulated the room as old grievances seemed to melt away, even if only temporarily. Elara watched, her heart lifted by the sight of age-old enemies speaking to each other with newfound respect. As the light dimmed, Voral stood, his voice resonant in the now silent chamber. "It appears we have much to discuss," he said, looking around at his fellow delegates, their faces alight with possibilities. "Dr. Miles, Earth will keep its relic for now. This council owes you a great debt. We will reconvene to discuss the implications of what we've experienced here today." Elara's relief was palpable as applause broke out, a sound she never thought she'd hear in such a place. As the delegates approached, curious and thankful, she knew this was just the beginning. Earth had not only held its ground but had shifted the galactic narrative. Humanity had indeed said its piece, not with words, but with proof of what could be. And the universe had listened. Elara Miles stood in the observation gallery overlooking the galactic hub's central atrium, a bustling nexus where representatives of countless species mingled. She observed the varied alien forms, some floating, others with multiple limbs, all engaged in animated discussions about the upcoming demonstration of the Aegis. Tomas approached, handing her a tablet filled with the latest intelligence reports. "It looks like there's a split in the council. Some are curious, others are outright hostile towards the idea of a new power dynamic," he remarked, his eyes scanning the room. Elara nodded, scrolling through the data. "This is more than just a demonstration, Tomas. It's a challenge to their centuries-old power structures. We need to be prepared for all outcomes." Her communicator beeped, a secure message from an ally, Counselor Tven from the aquatic planet of Hydrolis. "Dr. Miles, I urge caution. Many fear what they cannot control, and the Aegis represents a significant unknown." "Thank you, Counselor," she replied. "We're here to open minds, not to coerce. Tomorrow, we show them the Aegis' true purpose." That evening, Elara convened a secret meeting with her closest advisors and several sympathetic council members. In a dimly lit conference room, they discussed strategies to showcase the Aegis not just as a tool of power, but as a symbol of unity. "Many here have forgotten what it's like to truly listen to each other," Elara explained. "The Aegis amplifies emotional and cognitive empathy. It could dissolve barriers, but it could also provoke fear. A tool for peace used in the wrong way could indeed be seen as a weapon," mused Zillier, a delegate from the technologically advanced Xylon. "We must present it carefully." Elara nodded. "Tomorrow, we don't just activate the Aegis. We demonstrate that understanding each other can lead to a stronger, more cohesive council." The day of the demonstration, the council chamber was charged with a palpable tension. Elara, standing by the Aegis, scanned the room, noting the wary glances of some delegates. Beside the device, Tomas monitored the energy outputs, ensuring everything was calibrated for a subtle effect. Voral, the council's leader, called the session to order. "This assembly will now witness the demonstration promised by Earth. Dr. Miles, proceed when ready." Elara stepped forward, her voice clear. "Esteemed Council, what you will experience today is the first step towards what could be a new era for all of us. The Aegis does not threaten but offers us a chance to understand one another like never before." With a nod from Tomas, Elara activated the device. A gentle hum filled the chamber as a soft, iridescent light emanated from the Aegis, bathing the room in its glow. As the light touched the delegates, murmurs filled the air. Faces that had once held suspicion now looked on with wonder. A Silax delegate, previously a vocal skeptic, closed his many eyes, taking a deep, shuddering breath. This feeling, it's like seeing into someone's soul, understanding their hopes, their fears, he whispered, almost to himself. Around the room, similar expressions of revelation occurred. Even Vorel, ever stoic, seemed moved, his stern features softening. Elara continued, "This technology doesn't force consensus, but it fosters understanding. With it, we can bridge gaps that have existed for centuries." As the demonstration concluded, the room slowly returned to normal, but a new energy lingered. Delegates spoke among themselves, not in hurried whispers, but in thoughtful, measured tones. Vorel stood again, addressing the room. "The implications of this technology will require deep consideration. However, it is clear that today we have glimpsed a potential future, a future where the divisions that have long defined us might one day dissolve." As the delegates filed out, many paused to speak with Elara, expressing their gratitude or curiosity. Even those who had been doubtful now showed a grudging respect for the potential the Aegis represented. Tomas turned to Elara, a smile breaking across his face. "I think you did it, Dr. Miles. You've turned skeptics into believers, at least for the moment." Elara watched the retreating figures, her mind already racing ahead to the next steps. "We've started a conversation, Tomas. Now we need to keep it going. The real work begins now, ensuring this technology is used wisely and well." As they left the chamber, Elara felt the weight of her responsibility. She had not only introduced a powerful new technology but had challenged the very foundations of galactic diplomacy. The path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but for the first time in centuries, change was in the air. This demonstration was just the beginning. The journey towards a more unified galaxy had taken a significant step forward, and humanity, with Elara at the helm, was ready to lead the way. The council chamber hummed with a subdued anticipation as representatives from across the galaxy reassembled after witnessing the unprecedented effects of the Aegis. Elara Miles watched from the sidelines as alliances and opinions that had been millennia in the making seemed to wobble under the weight of new understanding. It was a pivotal moment, not just for Earth, but for the entire council. As the session began, Vorel addressed the assembly, his voice carrying a tone of cautious optimism. "We are gathered here to discuss the implications of what we have just experienced. The demonstration has, undoubtedly, opened new avenues for empathy and understanding among us." A representative from the Draconis system, previously a hardliner against any form of power sharing, stood up, his scales shimmering under the chamber lights. "While I remain skeptical of any technology that manipulates emotions, I cannot ignore the potential benefits. Could we consider limited trials, under strict supervision, to better understand this tool?" Elara sensed the shift in the room. Curiosity was slowly overriding caution. She stepped forward, her voice steady. "What we propose is not manipulation, but an enhancement of our natural capacities to understand each other. The Aegis could be the key to resolving long-standing conflicts and deep-seated prejudices." A murmur ran through the chamber as another delegate, this time from the nebulous regions of the Zephyr Belt, chimed in. "If we are to embrace this technology, we must ensure that it is not monopolized by any single entity. Its governance should be as decentralized as its effects." Tomas, standing discreetly by her side, handed Elara a datapad with live feedback from various factions. She scanned it quickly, her mind racing through the implications. "To address these valid concerns, we propose the establishment of a new council, a Unity Council, comprising members from every sector of the galaxy. This council will oversee the use of the Aegis, ensuring it is used ethically and equitably." The suggestion sparked a buzz among the delegates. The idea of a new council was radical, threatening to some, yet it offered a tangible framework for the controlled exploration of the Aegis possibilities. Vorel nodded slowly. "This Unity Council would need to operate under the highest ethical standards, with transparency and accountability at its core. Dr. Miles, Earth seems prepared to lead in this new endeavor." Elara felt the weight of the moment. "We are indeed. Earth is committed to the peaceful use of the Aegis. We invite the Council to work with us, to ensure that this technology serves as a bridge, not a barrier." Discussion flowed around the room, with delegates engaging in heated yet constructive debates. It was clear that the Aegis had stirred a long-dormant desire for a more profound connection between the civilizations. As the session drew to a close, a vote was called. One by one, representatives cast their decisions, a tangible tension filling the air until Vorel announced the results. The creation of the Unity Council is approved. Dr. Miles, Earth will spearhead this, but let it be known that this council will operate under the watchful eyes of all. Relief and determination flooded Alara as she thanked the assembly. The council erupted into a rare applause, a sound of unity that echoed through the chamber. Later, as the delegates began to disperse, Alara and Tomas debriefed in a quiet corner of the Galactic hub. We've crossed the first threshold, Tomas, but the real work starts now. Setting up the Unity Council, ensuring it truly reflects the diversity and needs of the galaxy, that's our next challenge. Tomas nodded, a slight smile on his face. You know, when we started this, I wasn't sure we'd get this far. Seeing the council today, feeling that shift in perception, it's something I'll never forget. Alara's eyes were firm, her resolve clear. This is just the beginning. The Aegis has opened a door, but we're the ones who have to walk through it. We'll need to be vigilant, clever, and above all, compassionate. The future of the galaxy just might depend on what we do next. As they left the chamber, the stars outside the galactic hub seemed to shine a little brighter, a silent testament to the small yet significant victory for humanity and the Council. Earth had not only held its ground but had also paved the way for a new era of galactic diplomacy and understanding. Now, the journey toward a truly united galaxy had begun, with humanity leading the charge into a future filled with potential. The mood in the Galactic Council was one of cautious optimism as delegates reconvened in the wake of the establishment of the Unity Council. The chamber buzzed with a mix of excitement and apprehension about what this new era of collaboration could bring. Alara Miles, central to these monumental changes, felt the gravity of the moment as she prepared to address the assembly to outline the next steps. As we embark on this new journey with the Unity Council, I want to emphasize the spirit of our mission. Alara began, her voice echoing through the chamber. This is not merely about managing the Aegis, it's about fostering a culture of empathy and cooperation that transcends our historical divides. A delegate from the silicate-based lifeforms of Crystallix raised a shimmering limb. Dr. Miles, while we embrace this new path, how can we ensure that all voices are heard and that the Aegis is not used as a means of coercion? Alara nodded, acknowledging the concern. An excellent question, and central to our ethos. The Unity Council will be guided by a charter that prioritizes transparency and inclusivity. We propose an oversight mechanism that allows any member species to request a review of any decision, ensuring that no one entity can dominate the Council's agenda. Around the room, nods and murmurs of approval followed her statement, reflecting a shared desire for equity. Moreover, Alara continued, we will initiate a series of dialogues across worlds, facilitated by the Aegis to deepen our mutual understanding and to identify common goals and challenges. A delegate from the gaseous beings of Nebulon interjected. And what of the non-member entities and independent worlds? How will they be represented in this new structure? Alara responded with a reassuring tone. The Unity Council will also serve as an outreach platform, engaging with non-member entities to ensure that our actions reflect the broader interests of the galactic community. We are not just reshaping a council, we are setting a precedent for how civilizations can collaborate more effectively. As the discussion unfolded, it was clear that while the path forward was fraught with challenges, there was a shared commitment to making it work. The delegates discussed various strategies for implementing the Aegis's capabilities, from conflict resolution to educational programs, which would help bridge the understanding between diverse cultures. As the meeting drew to a close, Vorel took the floor once more. Let us then proceed with cautious hope. Today, we have laid the groundwork for a potentially transformative change in how we govern and interact. Let this day be remembered not just for the creation of the Unity Council, but for our renewed commitment to peace and mutual respect. The chamber erupted into applause, a sound of unity that had once seemed impossible in such a diverse assembly. Elara felt a swell of pride and a surge of responsibility. She knew that the real work was just beginning. After the session, as the delegates began to disperse, Elara and her team gathered to discuss the immediate next steps. "We need to start with the Unity Council's first official session next month," she instructed. "We'll need to set a clear agenda and ensure that all logistical aspects are handled. The success of our first session will set the tone for the future." Tomas, ever the pragmatic, chimed in. "We should also consider a public outreach program. Let's demystify what the egis is and what it isn't. The more the public understands, the less room there is for fear and misinformation." Elara agreed, noting, "That's crucial. We need the public not just on our home worlds but across the galaxy to understand and support this initiative. Their belief in our mission is as important as any diplomatic agreement." As they planned, Elara felt the weight of her role. She was no longer just a scientist or a delegate. She was a pioneer in a new form of galactic diplomacy. The challenges ahead were daunting, but the potential to foster a truly peaceful and cooperative galaxy was a vision worth striving for. The meeting concluded with a renewed sense of purpose. Elara looked out at the stars from the observation deck of the galactic hub. Each star, a beacon of possibility, reminded her of the vastness of their task and the profound impact of their work. With the Unity Council, they had a chance to not only change policy but to change minds and hearts across the galaxy. As the stars twinkled back at her, Elara Miles felt ready. Ready to guide, to listen, and to lead. The journey ahead would be long and uncertain, but for the first time in galactic history, it would be a journey shared by many, led by a council that truly represented the diversity of the universe. This was her legacy, to forge a path towards unity in a place as vast as the cosmos itself.